Hi, my name is Mark. I'm the owner of SuperDry Systems, and today I will do a product review showing you our different lines of products. Our most popular products is the D series. It involves four models from the D1 to the D4. These systems have been made in Canada for close to 40 years. They are time tested, rugged, and very efficient. We also have a fifth model, which uses a flange at the top for some oil and gas industry applications. When you purchase a Super Dry, it comes stock with two pressure gauges and a ball valve, so you can drain the unit once to twice a day to make sure that moisture does not stay within the tower. We also have two premium options. The first one at the top is our moisture indicator that will let you know when it's time to change the cartridge. And we also recommend timer drains. So every, let's say, 45 minutes, it opens for 2-3 seconds, and it ensures that there's never an accumulation of water inside the tower. Here's a closer view of our moisture indicator. So as you can see, you can read the temperature and the percentage of relative humidity. So when you install it, the relative humidity will be around, let's say, between 25 and 30 percent of relative humidity. Over time, it's going to slowly increase as the air flows through the Super Dry and the desiccant becomes saturated. When you reach 80%, it's time to at least open the unit, look at the bag. If the bag is completely dry, you can still go a little bit more with the desiccant cartridge. And if you find that it's wet, it's time to replace it with a fresh cartridge. Now, there is a caveat on this product, and it's when it's used outside. Because temperature affects relative humidity, we don't recommend this product when it's used in an outside environment because the variations of temperature can get confusing for the end user. Also, this is not a replacement to a dew point monitor. The purpose of the indicator, the HGT 1/4, is really to give you an idea on how much saturation there is inside the Super Dry. The second option is the timer drain. One feature that we really like about our TD 1/4 is that the ball valve strainer is in one unit. So you have the Y strainer that can be cleaned, and by having this rugged part of brass, you ensure that the solenoid valve is protected, which increases the life expectancy of the product. Now, here's how it works. The air would come at the bottom left, and as you notice, the inlet is slightly offset, which creates a centrifugal force, a cyclonic type of effect, where water droplets will be separated. And while it circulates around a polypropylene element, dust, rust, solid particulates, and even oil carryover will be trapped by this coalescing filter. Then the air will flow upward through a bag, a filtration bag filled with desiccant. We're using activated alumina. So the air flows through it. The air will flow very easily through the beads, but the moisture will adhere. So that's why we call it adsorption, will be retained by the pores of the desiccant. So over time, like a sponge, this bed of activated alumina will slowly saturate. And when it's completely saturated, it's time to change the element, the desiccant bag. On top of the bag, there's a second filter because we want to make sure that there's no desiccant dust that will affect your application. The housing is made out of aluminum, so it will never rust. There's a life expectancy of 25 years on this product. Within the mold, you also have the mounting brackets, so it's easy to install directly on a wall. And at the top, we have the stainless steel clamp. I'll show you a better picture. So that's what our stainless steel clamp looks like. It makes it very easy to change a cartridge because you only need to depressurize the unit and then remove the clamp. And as you see on this picture, all the components are easy to take away. So in other words, the desiccant is not bulk and you don't need a cup to remove it. It's in the sewed filtration bag. So our air dryers are designed for point of use applications, as we see on the pictures. When you need to protect sensitive equipment in a shop, or as an example here, we have a sandblasting cabinet. So using a super dry right at the point of use will ensure dry and clean compressed air. You can also use it in the compressor room, given that you have a refrigerated air dryer. In this layout, you'll be able to bring the dew point lower than what you get with your refrigeration system. The refrigeration system brings you between 35 and 38 degrees Fahrenheit dew point. By adding super dry units, you can bring it down to minus 40. Now here it's important to mention that this minus 40 will not last for very long because it's a non-regenerative air dryer, which means that slowly the dew point will decrease from minus 30, minus 20. And usually people operate the system in between the range of minus 20 to plus 20, which is better than, it's lower than the freezing point, which means that if you have, let's say, a brewery and you have silos outside activated by air valves, well, you want to make sure they don't freeze. By adding a super dry to your refrigerated air dryer, you're able to protect those equipments. Now, it will not bring you the same quality of air that a twin tower would do, but on the other hand, the investment is more affordable and it's zero air loss. So these are things to consider. You can also install our super dry on mobile diesel compressors. Here we see different layouts. The third image on the right, you see two units. When you're in a situation where the CFM of the compressor is higher than the capacity of a super dry, it's possible to mount them in parallel. You design it to make sure that you'll have the most even flow split, and you're able to cover higher CFM. In the picture on the left, you see that before the super dry, there is a water separator. This is very common for a diesel compressor, especially when there's no aftercooler. Using the separator will help trap the bulk liquids, and then the super dry will take care of the moisture. So here's a resume of different layouts. A lot of our customers will use a super dry standalone, and it enables them to reduce all the interruptions that they get. Let's say they're sandblasting and the media gets clogged. By using a super dry, they eliminate that. And you can also add, as I mentioned, a water separator for better results. And the best scenario is when the customer has an aftercooler on the compressor. Because the aftercooler will remove up to 60% of the moisture, which means that the super dry cartridge will last longer. Here are different layouts. A very popular layout on the left-hand side is the 3 stages. So you're in a situation where customer mentions that there's a lot of bulk liquids in the air. They don't have coalescing filter anywhere, so there's oil carryover. So what we recommend is to start with a water separator that will remove bulk liquids. Then you have your compressed air filter, and finally the super dry. So this three-stage system is very popular. To know more about the applications on our website, we have a lot of case studies for different industries. So we encourage you to take a look at them. They're helpful. And also, if you're quoting a customer that has a similar application, it's always a good idea to add this in the attachment. They're all in PDF and they can be downloaded from our website. We also have another resource, which is the quiz. The quiz for us is like a checklist. So you're working on on an application. You want to make sure that all your bases are covered. You go through the quiz. It's going to ask you multiple questions, and at the end, it will generate what we recommend. You can still contact us to double check if we have any other information to provide you. But it's a good way to have a better idea of what is recommended. And if for any reason you answer questions where the pressure is over our capacity, the quiz will let you know that super dry is not the best option for your application. The customer will also ask you how long does the cartridge last. That's why we've created a quiz that will estimate the life of the cartridge based on the number of hours and the CFM as an example. Using this cartridge life estimator is very accurate, and it helps the customer to know how often he will need to change the desiccant in his air dryer. We have other products. We have as we see here, we have our line of compressed air filters. They start at half-inch NPT up to 2-inch. We cover up to 500 CFM. There are 3 grades of filtration. When you purchase the unit, you have to select which grade that you want. So the housing is empty, but you select the cartridge for your application and just need to insert it inside the head of the filter. We also have water separators. Like our compressed air filters, they have the automatic flow drain mounted on them. I forgot to mention that also the indicator, the delta P indicator, comes stock with our compressed air filter. There's no indicator on a water separator, mainly because inside you don't have a consumable, but it's a deflector, so the air will circulate around the core of the deflector and then come back inside where we don't see it on the picture, but inside there's mesh stainless steel grids, which helps the separation of the liquids. And you remove 99% of the liquids from the compressed air using the system. Same size, same models from half-inch to 2-inch. And finally, we have the ATD series, which is an inline air dryer. It's handheld, or it can be left on a workbench or even on the floor if you're working outside. So these are designed to protect air tools. So it's a cylinder, again, in aluminum, so they will never rust. And we see what the cartridge looks like. So you just remove the bag and place a new one inside. And it is so efficient that people who are working outside in the winter prevents their nail guns from freezing. That gives you an example of how powerful it is. Speaking of contractors working outside, we have a model that has camlock ends, which we recommend when you work outside, because the other model has threads. And sometimes when it's very dirty, if sand particulates or any other dirt goes into the threads. You might cross thread when you close it, and then it's almost impossible to open. So for dirty environments, the cam lock is recommended. For the cam lock, if you're working outside, usually what people will do is they have their compressor in their pickup truck. They will run a hose 50 feet, 100 feet, depending on where you're working. Then they will connect the ATD. And on the other side, they will put a recoil hose that connects to their nail gun. So that way they are close to the nail gun. It's the same as we've discussed earlier, where we want to be as close as possible to the application. It's the same for nail guns. We also have the ATD XL, which is good for a paint gun, a small paint gun. The difference is that the element is a plastic tube filled with color-changing silica gel. And on top of that ATD, there is a sight glass, so you see inside. And once the color changes from blue to pink, it is time to change the element. And that model comes with a clamp, so you can easily mount it on the wall. Our ideal customers are the manufacturing industry, sandblast contractors, or using usually mobile diesel compressors, construction workers, we talk about those nail guns, auto body shops. The oil and gas industry is also using our product, which replaces some systems that were not environmental friendly. So by using compressed air to open their valves instead of using different type of fuel, they're having a more eco-friendly option to protect their equipment. The resources we offer to our distributors, when you go on our website, you have access to all the instructions manual, the case studies we've discussed, dimensions, drawings, and if you're in Canada and you need CRN certificates, it's all there. So my name is Mark. If you have any questions, you're working on an application, you're not sure, don't be shy. Just shoot me an email, mark@superdry.com, and I'll be very happy to help you as much as I can. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice day.